You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender on Ron Siegel Radio. Mary Gaston, Realty Pro 100, is with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. I don't know. I'm not sure if this one's for you, Mary. National Pickle Day?
Absolutely not.
No? Okay, well, you never know when you've got the pregos with us. That pickles seems like a popular one for pregnant ladies, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I hate everything about them. I've always hated everything. The smell, the taste.
Okay, no pickles for Mary. Maybe we go seatbelt day. Okay, we need the government to intrude on something a little bit more. Especially at this time of year when they're so busy printing new ballots. I mean, elections ended last week, and I think in Orange County we've only counted 57% of the ballots. Does that make sense to anybody? I think they're still trying to find out as many as they need. I don't know. National Spicy Guacamole Day. You a spicy guacamole?
Sounds better than pickles.
Okay. I don't mind into the spicy, but guacamole, that sounds good. A little bit of spices, not the hot stuff, but garlic and all that kind of good stuff. Moving right along, let's chips. Got chips on there.
Just chips in general?
No, with the spicy guacamole.
I was like, it's just National Chip Day.
No, not.
Gotcha.
We have to have something with the spicy guacamole. You're not going to use a spoon, are you?
Ew. Also not. I have not had any of those weird pregnancy cravings.
Okay. You haven't done any of those. Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, the guacamole, put it on a baked potato.
Baked potato for guacamole?
Hey, you've never had guacamole on a baked potato?
That doesn't sound good. You sound pregnant.
I look pregnant too. Actually, I look more pregnant than you do. I'm just going, well, I'm not going to go there. Let's move right along and see what's going on in the markets right now. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up, if I can see today. Looks like it's up 88 points. I wonder if I can enlarge this screen a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Still can't see. The Dow is up 88. The S&P 500 is down 210. The NASDAQ is down 47. Oil down $2.21 a barrel, but gasoline $5.43 right here in the formerly Golden State. $3.77 is the national average of a gallon of gasoline. Pretty much flat from where it was yesterday. Let's take a rundown. Josh, you're just about at $5 over there, Josh. Jody's at $4.24. Brittany's $3.47. And as always, Lori's leading the pack at $3.28 a gallon. Of course, she's in America. That's Louisiana. Let's see what else is going on in the world right now. Well, we're going to see it again. The Federal Reserve, they're out talking, and they know about as much about what's going on in the economy as they did last year when they said inflation was transitory. So you get these characters going out there talking, and I wish they would listen to us. It would be very nice if they would. Okay, Ingram, you'll love this one, Mary. Joe Ingram piping in. Mary, help Grandpa read his screen. Okay, I'm glad we got a mute button on this thing. This show is the young and restless leg syndrome. I don't know about that one, Joe. Okay, let's keep moving right along and see what we've got going on here. So the Federal Reserve, that's what I was starting to chat about, is what the Federal Reserve is out there telling people and what they're apparently not aware of because they're not telling people this. So we're getting them out. They're having their chats. Fed Governor Chris Waller spoke in Sydney, Australia, and said it's good to see evidence of inflation coming down, but the Fed would need to see a continued decline before the Fed thinks about taking their foot off the economic brakes of rate hikes. So again, I just mentioned this is one of the same people that thought inflation was transitory. Let me explain this to you, Mr. Waller. So you can look at the Fed, the Cass Freight Index. That tells you about people that are, or companies that are shipping goods across the country, across the world. Shipments are down. That means, people are not buying things. Otherwise, they'd have to be shipped. Inventory is up. And again, while people are not buying anything and they're not shipping anything, that's not a good sign for the economy. We're seeing all sorts of companies laying off people. Now, I know the president thinks that recessions occur when unemployment is high, but he doesn't understand this either. Recessions always start when unemployment is very low. They get high because of the recession. So Twitter's cutting 50% of its workforce, Facebook cutting 13% of its staff, Snap cutting 20% of its staff, Shopify cutting 10%, Netflix 450 jobs, Microsoft is cutting 1,000 jobs, Salesforce 1,000 jobs. Who cares about Robinhood? They're cutting 31%, but Tesla cutting 10%, Lyft 13%, Redfin 13%, Coinbase 18%, Stripe 14%. And some companies that aren't cutting, but they're changing. Amazon, a hiring freeze. Apple paused almost all hiring. Google reduces new hiring by 50%. Can you understand this, Mr. Waller? This is where recessions start. Now, we're not smart enough to know that it's not transitory, but we were. We told you that. We knew what was going to happen with interest rates when inflation changed. We talked about that 6 months ago, when it would change. We're going to see on the PCE tomorrow that the headline will be beneficial. The core, not going to change all that much. But these are all issues that the Federal Reserve, they've got way more money than we have with no budget here at Ron Siegel Radio. Just throwing that out there to you. And they can't find this data. All they have to do is subscribe to some of the same sources we do. Just amazes me how they don't know these things are going on and that they've already done more than enough. It's going to take a while for all of these increases to take place. So what is the results of what they did? Well, Friday, we had a great day in the bond market from the sense of interest rates. And today we're giving a little bit of it back. That's kind of normal when you have a day where the bonds go up 206 basis points. Today they're down 36. 10-year treasuries up a little bit. These are all normal issues. But the bottom line here is, something, we don't need any more of the increases in interest rates. And maybe they should take a look at their own balance sheet, because we did. And their balance sheet shows that they haven't done nearly what they've been talking about. Why would that be? Well, we'll continue talking about that. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, the monthly market report, the Millennial and Old Man, home equity, a source of strength for homeowners today, and 3 new tax credits can help you save money and the planet. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a real quick second.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. S&P 500 now down 1.33. 10-year Treasury holding steady, up 2 basis points, 3.871. And mortgage-backed securities are down 37 basis points. Means interest rates are up ever so slightly. And as I mentioned in the opening segment, had a great day on those on Friday, but let's take a look at it. OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions. Nationwide, 30-year conforming loans locked at 6.732 on Friday. Jumbo 6.668, FHA at 6.642. USDA for those in the rural areas, generally no down payment, 6.578. And the best loan on the market for those that earned it, the VA loan, 6.528 is the VA loan. That's what locked on Friday. Again, what's driving this? Well, the markets are down a little bit, as I mentioned in the opening segment, because of comments from the Federal Reserve. Be nice if they'd all get on the same page, wouldn't it? I mean, I know they're individuals and they've all got the same they're different thought processes, even though none of them have ever worked anywhere but the Federal Reserve. I just throw that out there. So what else is going on out there other than these issues? Consumer Price Index inflation report after seeing a 206 basis point rally in mortgage bonds. Again, natural to see a bit of a pullback. The bonds are already well off the worst levels from early in the morning. Something else that may help inflation, America's biggest retailer, Walmart, has a new message for its suppliers. We're not going to pay higher prices anymore. This has major implication for both inflation and profit margins. It will lead to relief in inflation and add stress on their vendors' profit margins, or maybe they just won't get as much in the way of shipments unless other people want some of these things. I'll just throw that out there for you. That's the Mortgage Minute brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So every week at this time, or every month at this time, not every week, every month at this time, Mary Gaston, Realty Pro 100, comes in to chat. We talk about what we're seeing in the market or what some of the reports are showing us in the market. And then we give our take on what's going on, and it's beneficial. I think it's beneficial for everyone because many of us that are old, like me, we look at things from one perspective and we don't think about the perspective of the young people. And guess who's buying most real estate now? Yeah, it's the younger people. So let's get Mary's perspective on it. So we're looking here, start off with interest rates. And we've got all the slides on this as well. So we're going to show you the slides as we walk through them. At least I think we will, or at least Josh will. Somebody will. I don't know. So we got, will mortgage rates keep on rising? That's the question. We've got a chart that basically shows mortgage rates. And if I could see it, I think it goes back to September of 2016. Is that what that says? Oh, no, it goes back to January.
January 6th.
Close. We need to get, I need better glasses, I think, here. Okay, so going back to January 6th, the interest rates or mortgage rates, 30-year from Freddie Mac was at 3.22, peaked out at 6.95, and now it's come back just a little bit. And Len Kiefer, Deputy Chief Economist for Freddie Mac, says the U.S. 30-year fixed mortgage rates have increased 3.83 percentage points since the end of last year. That's the biggest year-to-date increase in over 50 years. And George Ratui, with inflation still running at a 40-year high and the Fed expecting a few more rate increases to combat it, mortgage rates will experience upward pressure through the end of 2022. And Mark Fleming pipes in, while mortgage rates are expected to continue to drift higher over the coming months, much of the rapid increase in rates is likely behind us. Wait a second. I think that I've got a comment for him, right? I mean,
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
wouldn't we hope that they're behind us?
I would hope.
I mean, that's kind of nuts when you think about that. They could be, if he thinks that maybe they'll go up even more than that.
Yeah.
Right? They've gone up. Well, you've obviously, I mean, being that it's over 50 years, you've never seen rates increase this much. Do you remember rates even at this kind of level?
I was gonna say, I don't think I've ever really known them to increase. I've always sort of just slowly watched them fall.
Right. They've kind of been hovering and then drop a little bit and hover a little more and drop.
Exactly.
So now it's a first.
Yeah, it really is the first time I've had experience rates increasing.
Especially at this dramatic. I mean, probably right before you started getting real estate, or maybe probably still in school, in the early 2000 to 2010, they were in this same 7%, but that was probably before
I got into real estate.
Before you even, it wasn't even on the radar.
No.
Okay. So recessions, you've seen two?
Yeah. Ish.
Two-ish?
Only one that really sticks and registers.
We don't really even think about the recession in 2020.
No.
Right? I mean, it was so quick and we were all really focused on the pandemic more than anything else.
Yeah, it was a small blip on the radar for everyone.
Exactly. So we don't know. Maybe we were in a recession. Maybe we are in a recession. But the Wall Street Journal's economists survey chances of a recession in the next 12 months. January, they were saying 18% up chance. Now in October, they said 63% chance of a recession in the next 12 months. Do you even think about that?
No.
I
mean, I don't think that's something that I think about daily.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, sort of life still goes on.
Okay.
I'm not an economist. I don't know. I don't even know how to give anything to this conversation right now.
Okay. Well, I mean,
but
so
it's not something that I feel really affects it affects my day-to-day life, but not in a way that I'm overthinking it.
But your comment answers the exact question, right? Because as a millennial, we don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Right. When you're older, you might start saying, okay, well, I've experienced, I know what's going to happen. Maybe it's going to be more meaningful. But at this stage of life, the millennials are saying, yeah, okay, it is what it is. It's a word.
Yeah. I feel the only millennials who are thinking about it are the ones who are sitting there on the sideline saying, okay, well, the recession means the market's going to crash like it did in 2008. So they're sitting there waiting for that.
Okay. There's the thought right there. So it's our job then to tell people that recessions don't necessarily mean falling prices.
Exactly.
Right. So we're looking at recessions all the way back to 1980 on the next slide. And I think we're going the other way. Okay. So we're looking at recessions going all the way back to 1980. And the only one that really had any meaning in the world of real estate, really it was real estate that caused the recession. Right. In 2020, real estate was up 6%.
Yep.
2001, it was up 6.6. 1991, it fell just a little bit, but in 80 and 81, real estate was still a good investment.
Yes.
Now the question becomes then, right now, does anybody really, with the lack of, there's more supply coming on the market.
Yeah, there is.
And demand is meeting the supply. The demand and the supply are pretty much flat.
Yes.
So what would cause prices to drop? I mean, to me, it seems like if anybody that understands economics is going to say, okay, so we got more supply, but we had way too much demand. Demand can come down and supply can go up, and we're still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they keep driving the rates up, that's definitely going to keep dropping demand, and it's going to fall.
Do you think it will?
Fall? No. Has it gone down slightly? Yes.
Okay. So the thought right there is if it's, interest rates are curbing the demand.
Yes.
But those people that have to buy are still going to buy.
Correct.
They just might not buy the $1 million house. They might have to buy the $900,000 house.
Yeah.
Just using median prices for Orange County. Might be a $450,000 house instead of a $500,000 house in Riverside.
Yeah.
Right. Same thought, but So the changes there, but the issue then becomes, unless you're moving into some sort of a retirement community, if you sell, you have to buy.
Yes.
So there's not a good case to be made for somebody selling
No.
unless they have to.
No, especially if all those people. I mean, how many refinances did you do over the past couple of years when rates were so low? So many people refinanced,
Right?
Where they're like locked into that low rate. It doesn't financially make sense for them to sell and then have to get like an interest rate basically double what they were at.
Right. So the issues there are the only people that are buying are those that have to. The only people that are selling are those that have to. Right. So you're still staying at a pretty much of a parity. Recession. How about what the effect of recessions on interest rates? Well, we look at the same data that we had before as far as dates, because the recessions for real estate were the same as the recessions for interest rates. And every single time interest rates drop. Now, I don't know if we're going to go back to a point of 1981 where they dropped 5%, because they started out at 13 or 15.
Yeah.
Right. So they're probably not going to drop 5%. But if we got a 3% drop, 2% drop, that'd be meaningful.
Definitely.
So that adds to buying power. That adds to demand. And that might even add some more supply, because people that were sitting on the sideline saying, well, I'm not going to sell my house until I can afford to buy a new one. They can now afford to buy a new one.
Yep.
Especially if they're I'm going to throw it in there, if they're the old people, because the old people, for the most part, are the ones that are going to downsize.
Yes.
Right? You're buying bigger, right?
Yep.
Well, your friends are either getting into the market or they may be buying bigger.
Yep.
Getting married, having babies, growing their families, needing their needs are greater.
Yep. Okay.
So let's see here. What are the experts saying about home prices? I love going into some of this area, because everybody has an opinion on pricing, right? If you ask 25 economists, you're going to get 35 opinions. So let's take a look at a few of them, and then Mary and I will chat about them. For those bearish folks eagerly awaiting the home price crash, you'll have to keep waiting. As much as demand is pulling back, supply is as well, reducing downward pressure on prices in the short run. That's Taylor Mard, Deputy Chief Economist at Redfin. Home price forecast. Let's look at that one. Now, here's the slide that I like the most, and I look at all of them and say, other than the very first one on the slide, who cares? And why do I say that? So on the slide, if you're listening to us on radio, but the slide basically says home price forecast for 2023, and this is from HPES 2.6%, the National Association of Realtors up 1.2, the Mortgage Bankers Association up 0.7. So I like HPS. I'll tell you why. NAR and the MBA, who cares? Because they've both got vested interests in the outcomes. Freddie Mac down 0.2, Fannie Mae down 1.5, and Ivy Zelman down 5.1. So I like HPES because that's a aggregation of over 100 economists. I bet the other ones are all probably part of it, but that's an aggregation of over 100 economists from the big banks, from academia, from real estate, from business. And they're saying up 2.6%. Now, I would say that, okay, that's their thought. That doesn't mean that's not local. That's national.
Correct.
What are you seeing locally? Are you seeing any changes locally?
I mean, I haven't really taken a deep dive into the numbers lately. From what I've been hearing, it seems like they're, staying stagnant or falling a little bit.
Okay. And you're basically hearing numbers for Orange County, Riverside, LA?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are and Los Angeles. I'm gonna go out on a limb here because I think, and again, my opinion is no better than the next person's. I like HPES, but Austin, Texas is going to fall. Phoenix is going to fall. Idaho is going to fall.
Phoenix has already started falling, hasn't it?
Yep. Los Angeles is going to fall. Why? Because those are the areas that had the greatest increases, right? So if you go at such, if the market's going up 20%, which is dramatic, and you're going up 35%, the likelihood is you're going to be leading the pack on the way down too.
Self-correct.
Right. There you go. The best word.
Thank you.
I like that one. Home prices forecast to fall in 2023. The big banks, what are they saying? Goldman Sachs down 5 to 10. Wells Fargo down 5.5. Moody's down 5 to 10. Morgan Stanley down 3. Okay, well, they're built into that home price expectation survey as well. And you look at it and say, okay, well, Wells Fargo got out of the mortgage business completely, so we'll see what's happening with them. And the others, are they selling their own book? Probably not Moody's, but Goldman Sachs runs funds that buy real estate. So do you think they want it to go down a little bit? Right? Do you want real estate to go up or down if you're in the buying market?
You want it to go down.
Right. So, and they don't have to sell it. They can just buy it and hold it until the time is right to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at the timing right when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. What's going to happen with home prices? We're going to continue that discussion. We're going to look at it from the old person's perspective and the millennial perspective. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. We'll be back in just a couple seconds.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily Home and Finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule an appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Home equity, a source of strength for homeowners today. Experts agree there's no chance of a large-scale foreclosure crisis like we saw back in 2008. And that's good news for the housing market, as Mark Fleming, chief economist at First American, says, quote, "Don't expect a housing bust like the mid-2000s, as lending standards in this housing cycle have been much tighter and homeowners have historically high levels of home equity. So there likely won't be a surge in foreclosures," unquote. Data from the Mortgage Bankers Association, MBA, helps tell this story. It shows the overall percentage of homeowners at risk is decreasing significantly with time. And if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing a chart. Percentage of mortgages in forbearance decreases to 0.69% in September. May of 2020, I can't see the number, but it's way higher. But even though the volume of homeowners at risk is very low, there's still a small percentage of homeowners who may be coming face to face with foreclosure as a possibility today. If you're facing difficulties yourself, it can help to understand your options. It starts with knowing what foreclosure is. Investopedia defines it like this, quote, "Typically, default is triggered when a borrower misses a specific number of monthly payments. Foreclosure is the legal process by which a lender attempts to recover the amount owed on a defaulted loan by taking ownership of and selling the mortgaged property," unquote. The good news is there are alternatives available to help avoid going through the foreclosure process, including reinstatement, loan modification, deed in lieu of foreclosure, short sales. Before you go down any of those paths, it's worth seeing if you have enough equity in your home to sell it and protect your investment. You may be able to use your equity to sell your house. Equity is the difference between what you owe on the home and its market value, based on factors like appreciation. In today's real estate market, many homeowners have far more equity in their homes than they realize due to the home price appreciation we've seen over the past few years. According to CoreLogic, quote, the total average equity per borrower has now reached almost $300,000 in the highest in the data series, unquote. That's national. That means in California, it's going to be higher than that. So what does that mean for you? If you've lived in your house for at least a few years or more, chances are your home's value and your equity has risen dramatically. In addition, the mortgage payments you've made during that time chipped away at the balance of your loan. If your home's current value is higher than what you still owe on your loan, you may be able to use that increase to your advantage. Rick Sharga, Executive VP of Market Intelligence at Adam Data, explains how equity can help. Quote, very few of the properties entering the foreclosure process have reverted to the lender at the end of the foreclosure. We believe that this may be an indication that borrowers are leveraging their equity and selling their homes rather than risking the loss of their equity in a foreclosure auction, unquote. Lean on experts to explore your options. To find out how much equity you have, work with a local real estate professional. They can give you an estimate of what your house could sell for based on recent sales of similar homes in your area. You may be able to sell your house to avoid foreclosure. If you find out you have to pursue other options, your agent can help with that too. They'll be able to connect you with other professionals in the industry, like housing counselors, who can look into your unique situation and offer advice on next steps if selling isn't your best alternative. Bottom line, if you're a homeowner facing hardship, let's chat. I'm going to share with you that we've done some shows, and I didn't grab the links, but how do you sell your house the quickest possible method for the highest possible price? You're not taking a price reduction, but selling it in the quickest possible way. We've done some shows on that, and I'd be more than happy to share that with you. All you have to do is reach out to us, 800-306-1990. Don't go through foreclosure unless it's a last resort. Give me a call. Again, I'll put you in touch with great real estate professionals. I think Mary knows a few of them. And we'll help you solve the problem. Because if you go through foreclosure, you're going to lose a lot of money to expenses that you could be taking over and using that same money to go and buy your next property or sit on the sidelines for a year if that's what's in your best interest. Just throwing that out there for you. That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. So before the break, we were talking about home prices and some of the big banks that said the prices are going to drop and the rest of the world that says they're not. Not going to go up by a whole lot, 2.4%. Southern California, Orange County over the last 63 years, we average about 5.37. So we'll see. And the normal market is 4. So historically, national, the number is about 4, a little under, and Orange County is at 5.37. So we're about 25% higher than the market. But Wells Fargo home price forecast for 2023 was down 5.5%. But here's the good news, because when we looked at real estate during the crash, 2008, 9, 10, prices kept on dropping, right? From 2007 to 2011, prices dropped year after year after year. But Wells Fargo, they're saying up 3.1 next year. So it's basically just a quick correction.
Yeah. Well, do we think it's all just interest rate driven, though, isn't it?
There
They're
you
dropping
go.
right now because interest rates are going up. Once the recession hits, interest rates are going to start going down. Prices start going up again.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So bottom line is don't wait.
Mm.
Len Kiefer, Deputy Chief Economist, Freddie Mac. While there might be little statistical difference between a small positive number and a small negative number, there are often huge differences in how they may impact behavior. That makes sense. So home prices depreciated for 5 years during the great financial crisis, whatever you want to call it. 2007 down 7.3, 2008 down 14.2, 9 down 2.6, 10 down 3.4. But then look how quick it turned around in 12 and 13.
Mm-hmm.
Right, those were big increases compared to history. So 12 was almost double and 13 was over double the national average in the years of appreciation, according to Zelman and Associates. So again, it's then we didn't have a well-defined catalyst is the word I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have a pretty well-defined, now you just gave us the pretty well-defined catalyst of why rates should drop,
Mm-hmm.
or why real estate should appreciate because of the rate drop.
Yep.
And it's not, when you see the same thing happen 5 or 6 or 7 recessions in a row, it's not a stretch to say it might happen again.
Maybe.
Right? I mean, we can't predict the future, but we can study the past and hope we can get a good idea.
Yep.
Are you seeing many foreclosures?
Personally, no.
I haven't seen a whole lot of them. And we've got a chart here that goes as foreclosures all the way back to 2005. And if you look all the way back in 2005, we had 533,000 foreclosures that year. This is according to Adam Data. And their report shows that as of the end of 2021, their latest data is 151,000. We got up to 2.9 million in 2010. That would scare people.
Yeah.
Right? Because I would say in 2010, you weren't in the industry then, were you?
No.
Okay. And I don't know, maybe you fit into this also. I was in the industry. Everybody knew somebody who went through foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know somebody that went through foreclosure?
I don't think I did.
Okay. So I bet your parents did.
Go through foreclosure?
No, knew somebody.
Oh.
No, knew somebody.
Yeah, all I remember is my parents freaking out because they had bought right before the crash.
Okay.
And they watched their value plummet. I remember that.
And I wonder how long, you may know it, may not know it, is when their value plummeted, how many years did it take till it was back where they were again? You don't have to, I bet it wasn't more than 4.5 to 5 years.
Yeah.
That's the statistical averages. So just the thought right there as to what's going on with some of the numbers, we're not going through that again, right? Because people are holding their properties. They've got a lot of equity. We've done shows on how you can protect your equity, right? If you think rates are going to, the property value is going to drop like this again, give us a call. We'll show you how to get that equity out so that if they do, you don't care because you've got the money on the sidelines. Let's take a look and see. U.S. foreclosure activity continues to increase quarterly, nearing pre-pandemic levels. So here's the garbage that comes out of the media, right? So they tell us that this will be a headline out there in the news because they like going with Adam Data's numbers. So U.S. foreclosure activity continues to increase quarterly, nearing pre-pandemic limits. So same week in 2020, housing supply still is historically low. Do you really think that we're going to see what was pre-pandemic limits, right? Levels.
Yeah, if they're looking at like 2019, that's
kind of a weird chart. But here's
I'm like looking back at this chart where it says foreclosure activity by year.
Right.
Like if they're calling pre-pandemic levels like the 493 in 2019, every other year dating back to 2005 was still higher than that.
Right. So if we
what
take
year are they going off of?
So let's just do some simple math here, Mary, because it's early and it's a Monday. So in 2021, the foreclosure activity was 151,000 off that same chart you were looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that the number goes up by 50%. That's adding another 75,000. That goes to 225,000.
Yeah.
The only year in the last 16 years that would have been below that, if it goes up 50%, would have been 2020.
Yep.
So yeah, their data could be correct, but it's misleading.
Yes.
Right? The number was so low. When you go off of a low basis and you say it increases, it doesn't matter. Unbelievable. And the media, I guarantee you, Diana Olick is going to come out with it. This will be on CNBC, and Diana Olick will give this bogus information once again. She always does. When we come back, we're going to talk about supply is still historically low. And we're going to also talk, maybe there's a few items that we can look into in the way of tax credits to save you money and the planet. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it's wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solutions. They can help you correct it. Or new book coming out. We're going to give you, we have available a do-it-yourself guide. It's about 82 pages, I think, of tools, strategies to increase your FICO score. You can do it all by yourself. And I think we're going to even come up with some templated letters that you can use as well. 3 new tax credits can help you save money and save the planet. The Inflation Reduction Act was signed into law August 2022, and with it comes a slew of new and revised tax credits. Many of these can help people who want to decrease their carbon footprint and also save money. As with many large tax-related changes, some of the details get ironed out after the law passes. Many of the major changes also won't start until at least the 2023 tax year. However, here's an overview of new or revised tax credits that you'll want to consider as you plan your future purchases. Clean vehicle tax credit. Starting in 2023, purchasing an electric, plug-in hybrid, or hydrogen fuel cell vehicle could result in a tax credit worth up to $7,500 for a new car or $4,000 for a used car. There's also a tax credit if you sign a binding sales contract before the end of 2022, but different rules apply. To qualify, you need to be below the income limits, which means you can't afford the car, which range from a modified adjusted gross income of $75,000 for single filers to $150,000 for joint filers who buy a used vehicle, and double that when you buy a new vehicle. Okay, so you can buy a Tesla, I guess. New vehicles also have to meet certain requirements to be eligible. The manufacturer's suggested retail price has to be under $80,000 for vans, SUVs, and pickups, and under $55,000 for other vehicles. That went out to Tesla. The final assembly of the vehicle has to be in the U.S. The vehicle has to have a battery with a capacity of at least 7 kilowatt hours. Starting in 2024 and 2025, there are also requirements related to where the battery's components and critical minerals come from. So you have to have a mineral check on your car. Used vehicles must be at least 2 years old and sold by a dealer for less than $25,000. Also has to be the first time the vehicle was resold. All vehicle-related requirements can be tricky to navigate. You can look for lists of eligible vehicles. Energy-efficient home improvement tax credit. We've had some of those. A home energy audit, $150 limit. Exterior doors, $250 per door. But you only get 2 doors. $500 is the total. Exterior windows and skylights, insulation and sealing, air sealing, electric panel upgrades, heat pump and water heater, and biomass stoves, $2,000 limit. HVAC systems and biomass stoves and boilers. No idea what those even mean. There's generally a $1,200 limit, except you can claim the credit for an eligible heat pump, water heater, or biomass stove. Residential renewable. Does that sound like more taxes to you?
Yeah. Like...
Residential renewable energy tax. You want the whole report? Give me a call. I just can't. I can't do this.
That was a good one, Ron.
I can't do this whole thing, Josh. It's gonna. Mary's over here chuckling, and I'm doing the best I can not to. Let's get back to our monthly report that we've been chatting about. Housing supply is still historically low. So this week in 2021, there was 39.5% more properties. Same week in 2020, 6.3, and now we're down to 20. In 2019, there was 37.2%. We're down 37.2 from then. So if you go back to pre-pandemic, we're way below the numbers, even though there's more properties on the market.
Mhm.
Right? So it's kind of what we've been talking about all morning. There's properties coming on the market, but the interest rates are holding people back from buying them.
Yep.
And we know that housing is one of the biggest components of what the inflation is, and it's one of the biggest components of GDP. So does it surprise anybody that, we're going into a recession? Just the housing alone is going to cause it. Should I buy a home right now? Well, no, you can rent. Take a look at that chart. Going back, they put it in big letters so I can even see that it's going back to 1988. Pretty dramatic.
That is a steep increase.
Isn't that crazy? So I shared this once before. I have 3 kids. I think they all fit into the millennial class. One of them just moved out of his apartment into a townhome. And his apartment rent was going to go from $2,800 to $3,049, right, as a renewal. So he doesn't renew because he goes into a townhome. Take a wild guess what they put it up for. $3,500.
$3,500?
From $2,800 to $3,500. Do you think they're upset about him leaving?
No.
Right? They're happy that he left. Landlords, other than Los Angeles, because you don't have to pay the bill there. But, you can get more money on the rent. That's for a 2-bedroom, 2-story apartment. $3,500.
That's crazy.
Right? Can you believe? So, renting is not going to be the answer. Odetta Cushy, chief economist, First American. If you can find a house that meets your financial expectations for a monthly payment and it is good time for you to buy, do it. No, really? That takes
a time to do it.
Yeah, that's the chief economist at First American came up with something that prophetic. If you wait for prices to fall, but they never do, you may discover the hard way that the house that you found a year ago that you really loved, that you could afford, but you passed up on is more expensive next year. We've been talking about that all morning. Jason Luris, co-founder and chief data officer, Parcel, never heard of him. In the absence of trustworthy, up-to-date information, real estate decisions are increasingly being driven by fear, uncertainty, and doubt. These decisions can be hugely consequential for consumers and businesses. Don't we make most of our decisions based on fear?
Yeah.
Right? Fear of loss.
Mm-hmm.
They even came up with an acronym for them, FOMO, right? I don't know what it means, but I heard that's what it says.
Fear of missing out.
Right? So the bottom line here is that, if you can you're buying a payment,
mm-hmm.
right? When you really think about it, unless you're going to pay cash for a property, right? When you're looking at your property that you're getting,
mm-hmm.
is it more important to you? Can I afford it or the big number?
It's more the affordability. Because at the end of the day, the price that you're paying for it, that's not the price you're paying because you're paying interest on top of all of that.
Right.
Like you're not just paying, $1 million for a home. Like factoring in interest, you're paying a lot more for that home than you think you are.
So you're really paying 2.5, but no one says, well, I'm going to go buy this house for $2.5 million.
Exactly.
Right. That's what you're really paying
but
for
you
it.
Get what you can afford.
Right. So, and the beauty of it is if you go back to the slide that shows the rents, if you've got that 30-year fixed rate mortgage, your payment only goes down.
Correct. Like your income's probably going up, but your payment's going, staying the same or going down.
Right. So you don't have to ever worry about it going up because it's a fixed rate. And yes, I do know that because I've had some people ask me this one, Ron, I have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Why did my payments increase? Well, you have your taxes and your insurance impounded. So insurance may have gone up. And your taxes, property taxes may have gone up. That's what drives that. So wasn't your mortgage payment and it wasn't your interest expense. And if you want some information on how to get your mortgage payment quicker or your equity to go quicker, give me a call because think about this one. I just did this with a group recently. And it's a trivia question. How long does it take to pay off half of a 30-year mortgage? Probably about a little over 20 years,
mm-hmm.
because you're paying all the interest up front.
Yep.
So if you can pay an extra, I think the number that I looked at last on an amortization table, if you can make 4 payments worth of principal, it brings you down 10 payments worth on the amortization table.
So just the principal, not even a full payment.
Right.
Just pay like the extra principal.
Right. pretty amazing just understanding how the amortization table works. If you want more information on any of this, give us a call, 800. If you got a house to sell, if you're worried about your equity, if you're worried about your future, if you're worried that, you know something, maybe I just want to cash out and sit on the sidelines, I don't recommend it. But we can still show you ways to maximize the amount of money you get for your property in the shortest period of time. And it's not by going to a cut rate broker. I'm going to tell you right here, if you go to cut rate brokers, or if you're looking for a discounted commission, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot, and I don't get any of that commission, so it doesn't matter to me which way you go. Right? The bottom line is you're shooting yourself in the foot. If you want to understand it, give me a call, 800-306-1990. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.